this is a continuation of last week's topic, which is binding off and pattern, and, excuse me, not binding off, grafting and pattern. And I believe I mentioned in that video that you can use the technique I discussed in that video for everything except really knit one, purl one, ribbing. It just does not work because of the offset of the half stitch. There's just not enough stitches of one type in order to make it work. And what you do instead is you bind off the stitches in a special way. Now, the first step is to get all of the knit stitches, or the front stitches, on one needle, and the purl stitches, the back stitches, on another needle. And I'm going to put that needle there, and we'll start with this one. And it really requires 2 needles to do this. Okay, so I'm going to take this knit stitch, put it on this needle, take this purl stitch, knit stitch, purl stitch, knit stitch. Oops. And you can see why you want to use sticky needles. I'm using my carbons, and they are definitely the stickiest needles I have, because if I'm using my regular metal needles, those stitches will just come sliding off. Okay, got 3 stitches on the back. Those are my purl stitches, 3 knit stitches. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. And I'm going to stop the video and do this one, and then we'll get back to it in a second. There's my little blind kitty. So I've got all of my stitches separated. I've got the knits and purls, and notice on the front I have 4 stitches, and on the back I have 3 stitches. Knit, knit. And now what I'm going to do, I've got my needles aligned like this because I'm going to graft the stitches on the front needles. And this is, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of knitsy, as they say, and you know, it's a bit awkward, but it's worthwhile. Now the drawback of this technique is that it's very inelastic, and you'll see why. I'm going to graft the stitches on the front together, I'm going to finish, and then I'm going to graft the stitches on the back, and they're very inelastic. So you can see why this is, you know, it's not going to work. This is one group, the ones on the back. It will look okay, but it's, you know, if it's something you need to have a lot of stretch, this isn't the technique you can use. All right, so like any grafting, and if you don't remember how to graft, you want to go look at earlier videos I've done on grafting. But basically, you start by going purlwise. With all these needles, this is a bit of a chore. Purlwise through the back needle, front needle, knitwise through the back. Okay, that's how you start off. Then I'm going to go, oh gosh, all these needles. Knitwise, drop, purlwise. And you can see why I only cast on a few stitches to do this. Purlwise, drop, knit. Knit, drop, purl. Now this thing does require some cleanup. It's kind of hard to do this as you go because of all these needles. Once I get some of these needles off here, oops, I've got, hold on, knitwise, okay, there's my purlwise. I came through there purlwise and I dropped, and then knit, knit, drop, purl, then purl, whoops, drop, knit. Now you can see why this is so much fun. And then knit the last stitch off, and I'm going to go in and clean this up and purl. Okay, so I've got 2 of the needles out of the way. And it's going to look real messy because I haven't cleaned it up, but you can kind of see I'm going to go in and clean this up. All right, then I basically do the same thing on the stitches on the inside. And I'm going to stop because I want to photograph this for the blog, and then I'll come back and do that. Okay, I'm back, and you can see I've grafted the stitches. I haven't cleaned this up yet. My stitches are a little over large, and also I used about my biggest needles for this. So I'm going to flip it over and now graft these guys together. Now this is much easier because I've gotten rid of half of the stitches. So as with the other one, I'm going to start with my purl through the front, knit through the back, okay, and then it's just the same old thing. Knit, don't George, knit, drop, purl, purl, drop, knit. I have fewer stitches on the back. Oops, this stitch when I put it on the needle got a little distorted, which is split up. I'll fix that. Oops. There's my working yarn. Got it all tangled up here. And I dropped a stitch. I think I am demonstrating just about what a pain it is to do this. So think very carefully before you pick a project that requires this. The only time I ever use it is when I've worked a knit one, purl one band along with the piece of the fronts, and then I need to join it at the back. Work a little bit, seam and join, and that's when I've used this technique. Don't want to have that on top. Drop, knit, and then knit and purl to take it off. So you get it done. And you can see, even before I've cleaned this up, now we'll go in and clean up these stitches and make them all nice and neat for the photograph for the blog. It is very puffy, because the stitches are not grafted, next to each other. So it is a bit puffy in the back, but it is grafted and the stitch pattern is maintained. So there you have it.